Daniel and Alex were best friends, living thousands of miles away from home to work in a massive textile factory. They shared a small, dimly lit apartment on the second floor, located in an old, quiet neighborhood far from the city center. Their life was a repetitive loop. Every night at 10 p.m., after their grueling shift ended, they would catch the Route 44 bus. The bus was always half empty, with flickering lights that hummed a ghostly tune, casting long, eerie shadows on the seats. To reach their apartment, the bus had to travel through a dense, pitch-black forest. There were no streetlights here, only the bus's headlights cutting through the thick fog. Daniel always sat by the window. He began to notice something strange. Every single night, an old man carrying a weathered wooden box would get off the bus in the middle of the forest. There was no bus stop there, no houses, no life. The old man never spoke, never paid for a ticket, and the driver never asked. He would simply vanish into the dark silhouettes of the trees like a ghost. One night, while they were eating dinner in their room, Daniel felt a strange chill. He leaned out of the second-floor window to catch some fresh air, but suddenly, the glass in his hand slipped and shattered on the ground below. He looked down, and his heart skipped a beat. Standing right by the apartment gate was the old man. His head was tilted up, his vacant eyes staring directly into Daniel's. Daniel screamed, "Alex, look, the old man is here." Alex rushed to the window, but the street was dead silent, empty. Alex sighed, "Man, you're working too hard. You're hallucinating. Go to sleep." The next night, they made a pact to find the truth. They sat on the bus, eyes fixed on the old man. He sat in the back, clutching his wooden box, whispering something under his breath. It sounded like a rhythmic, ancient chant. When he got off in the forest, Daniel and Alex signaled the driver to stop a bit further ahead and stepped off quietly. The darkness was suffocating. The only sound was the crunching of dry leaves beneath their boots as they followed him deeper into the woods. They saw him stop near a massive, dead tree. He slowly opened the wooden box, and a faint, pulsating blue light emerged from within. The old man began talking to the air, as if someone, or something, was standing right there in the shadows. Daniel signaled Alex, gathered his courage, and stepped forward. He grabbed the old man's shoulder and demanded, "Who are you? What are you doing out here?" The man turned around, but his face was no longer human. His skin was shriveled, and his eyes were glowing a demonic blood red. He let out a piercing shriek that echoed through the entire forest, vibrating in their very bones. He began chanting loudly in a language they couldn't understand and lunged at them with unnatural speed. Terrified, they ran for their lives, splitting up in different directions. Alex ran through the thorny bushes for what felt like hours until he somehow found the main road where they first entered. Alex rushed to their room and called Daniel 50 times, but the phone was out of service. The next morning, he filed a missing persons report. 2 days later, the police found Daniel's old diary in their apartment, which contained his family's contact information. They called his parents to deliver the news that their son had vanished without a trace. Their cries over the phone broke Alex. They kept asking, "Where is my son? You were with him." Alex had no answer, only the crushing weight of guilt. Alex couldn't stay in that room anymore. Every night, he heard a rhythmic scratching on the window glass, but there was never anyone there. He quit his job, packed his bags, and fled back to his village, leaving that cursed city behind forever. But sometimes, even now, when it's 10 p.m., he feels as if someone is watching him from the shadows, waiting for the next shift to begin. My name is Arthur. For 10 years, I've driven this old bus through these lonely hills. People always say shortcuts are dangerous, but I never believed them. Until the night I got trapped in that cursed town. It all started 2 days ago. I was exhausted and running late. I decided to take a shortcut through an abandoned, crumbling city. They say not even a stray dog lives there anymore. But that first night, everything was normal. I was listening to old songs on the radio, humming along, and in 20 minutes, I was out. I laughed to myself, thinking people were just cowards. It was such a clean, easy road. So the next night, I took the shortcut again. I was confident. But the moment I passed those rusty iron gates, the atmosphere shifted. The music on my radio suddenly cut out, replaced by a violent, static, hissing sound. I flicked through the channels, but every station played the same eerie noise, like someone was crying from a great distance. I turned it off, but the silence of the town was even more terrifying. Then came the first bus stop. In the glow of my headlights, I saw him, an old man in a tattered, filth-covered coat, his head slumped down. I didn't stop, but at the very next turn, the same man was standing there again. How was that possible? This time, he was waving a skeletal hand, signaling me to stop. My skin crawled. I gripped the steering wheel and pushed the bus past 80, desperate to leave him behind. Suddenly, my headlights hit a massive brick wall. The road, it just ended. No, this road was open yesterday, I screamed. I threw the gear into reverse, but as I looked in the rear view mirror, my blood ran cold. Dark, shadowy figures were drifting toward the bus from the darkness. I scrambled to lock the doors, but they began to creak open on their own. I twisted the key with all my might, but the engine just coughed up thick smoke and died. Strange whispers began echoing right next to my ear. My heart hammered so hard I thought it would burst, and then darkness took me. I collapsed, falling unconscious. While I lay dying in that bus, my wife and daughter were frantic at home. My phone was vibrating on the dashboard, ringing over 50 times, but I was gone to the world. Finally, my son tracked my GPS. The location showed Old Ghost Town Square. At 4 a.m., they arrived in their car and found me slumped over the steering wheel. They dragged my limp body into the car and sped away, leaving the bus behind in that hell. I woke up in the hospital the next morning. I told them everything, but no one believed me. They thought I was just sick from exhaustion, but I know what I saw. Since that night, I have never driven at night again. Some roads lead you home, and some roads, they lead to a place you can never return from.